everyone. So I've got a different setup. Today I am in northern Arizona, up here in the mountains, really high up. I'm going to show you the view that I'm looking at while I'm taping this. It's just magnificent. So took a few days off to come up north and work on some projects, continue to just kind of contemplate, kind of unwind, and really adding more of this into my art making time. The idea of just taking more time, getting away from the hustle and bustle, and really contemplating, you know, in more of a meditative sort of way, and maybe not just like purposeful meditation as much as just allowing, you know, to hear my soul speak, just naturally as you walk around, you know, and you know, taking, you know, hikes and looking out at the mountain ridges and the trees. And we have beautiful pines here in Arizona. Arizona's always thought of just like a hot desert, but it's such a beautiful state because it has so many different varied climates and what have you. So anyway, yes, I just wanted to share that all with you. But I've done some journaling since I've been up here, worked in this section, and so I wanted to go ahead and start doing our share. If you are new to my channel, please hit the bell to get further subscriptions. You know, you hit the bell, hit all, so that you'll be notified. And if you enjoy this video, please, or if you're part of my community and you know you enjoy the videos, please thumb it up now, because it really does help the algorithms. Hear the thunder? I love thunder. And it's been raining off and on all day, and just, oh my God, it's just so gorgeous. So, yeah, so just, you know, thumb everything up and, you know, all that good stuff. So let's get going. A few things going on today in today's journal. The first thing is that I did create September printables, and the link for them will be below. A lot of them are fabric, are based on jelly prints of fabric that I made in one of my master classes where we were doing jelly printing on fabric. And so all of these are, you can just see the beautiful fabric textures with the gel print on top. There's a technique I, you know, sort of figured out that really allows the paint to seep in deeply into the fabrics and really hold on to the print. You can see that there. So I've got my stamps on here. Many of you have my stamps. I have stamps. I have my, was using my stencils. So all of these are in a pack. Link below, and you'll see this piece is missing, but I've used it, so you'll see what piece that is coming forward. The other thing that I've done in this week's journal, and I'm really, really excited about it, is that I did the first of making papers that, you know, I promised we've been talking about in the chat, in the premiere chat. And so I just got started with them because one of my favorites that I love, love, love to make is shibori. And I'm using my 𝐒𝐄𝐲 inks. These are, and you're going to see, you know, there's cutaways of me making all of these papers so you guys can do the same. So I'm using paints and I'm using inks and some of the dyes. Dye them because it goes fast. You see how quickly it was. How quickly it was just to dip it and set it to the side. I am going to let it rest a little bit. Then we're going to open them immediately because I don't want the paint to start drying, and because it's got acrylic in it, it'll stick to itself. So we want to let it kind of finish getting moving through the paper, but at the same time, we want to open it up and let it dry flat. That way we don't have to worry about it sticking and ripping and stuff like that. Okay, so doing 3 white, 3 cream in each of these, and then I'm going to do the other in the 𝐒𝐄𝐖𝐒𝐋𝐄𝐓𝐓𝐄𝐑 inks. Just kind of turn it. And I'm gonna get the tea first. This is tea stain. It's gonna make, you know, of course my colors are like earthy, so this is gonna make it more earthy, but if you didn't, you obviously would select yourself a different color. Let me try putting some of this silver. Okay, that goes there. You could dip for days. You can see how this is going. I think I might just pick some of this red up here. It's on this paper. And I thought I had my pomegranate over here. Oh, let's use the honey, which is kind of like a brown yellow. Okay, let's put that there. Just making some more papers with this, just kind of working different techniques, right? See if we can get some blue ink blots on this, like this. And as it mixes with some of the other color, it's pretty good. Oh yeah, that's good. So let's start with the blue one. I like the way this color is bled. Oh, this is good. I like how we're getting little bits of that red in there, especially when you're working with a number of colors. I like the way the mixing happens. I'm okay with that. If you don't, just work it with one color at a time, obviously, so you don't have a tendency to mix it with your fingers. But I like that because it just makes these really wonderful, unexpected patterns on your, there's a, mixed in it with some gold. So put this down to dry. And you can come back and spray more on afterwards. You can also do it now when things are a little bit, I have a tendency to do it when things are still wet, so I get a little bit more bleeding. But whatever you want to do. So I kind of will darken it a little bit. And I like that. So let's go back with a little bit of gold. Kind of gives a little more earthy quality. And then with the gold, you can't go wrong. So when this dries, this is going to be good. You can even just kind of curl the edge. Main thing is just to let it soak up. Means it just wasn't enough that absorbed into the folds. So when that happens, just I'm gonna fold it back up with the edges that I want to be done better facing out, you know, so they faced out. I just flipped it so that, and then just go back in there. Really let it absorb in this 𝐒𝐄𝐒𝐒𝐒. Because it just, you know, kind of adds to the pattern. But if you do, you can just re-dip it, or sometimes I'll take and paint. But you kind of have to use a calligraphy brush or something because you really want it to bleed. So it doesn't look like you've painted a straight line. And those larger areas like that are cool. you know, for certain patterns, and then just sort of seeing these. It's nice. It's real ink blot like. So let's go ahead and put this in the gold. Oh, this is so good. It's messy work. Use your gloves. I would normally have some latex gloves myself, but I don't. And this is all 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐶 ink, which is natural carbon, so I'm not worried about it. That's gorgeous. Okay, we gotta let that dry. This is the gold. So this is the 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐶 with the gold. And this is some of the areas that we kind of played with, touching it up just to kind of show you, you know, what you can do to close the pattern in. But this gold is just magnificent. Love, love, love that. Here is our red on the cream paper, and then with some of Seth's gold spray on there. I like the way it toned down the white because it was pretty white. I like the way that toned the color down a lot. And then this is on the cream. This is on the white. Yeah, this is the red on. Let me see. Yeah, this is the red on the white. And then I sprayed some of the silver on it, which just gave it a little extra something. But I like both of them because there's times where I just want that bright red to be used. So that's good. Okay, so here we have the very first ones that we did with the turquoise. And then this is the same turquoise. That was on white. This is on the cream. And then this is one where, okay, now this is where I started kind of diverging in terms of the technique. So there's some really good pieces in here, sections. And I'm going to play around with a little bit of acoustics on these coming up. And this red, oh, look at that. That's just divine. Color palette, it's amazing with that green. And this is the gold in the 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐶. The colors, the range, the pattern. So I want to show you all what the paper, the final papers look like. So have fun, and love to see how your papers turn out. And yeah, I guess that's it. The full hour, I think this video is about an hour and a half long of this process. The full video is over on Patreon. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to show you enough on our Saturday videos for you to be able, you know, to get started and make things. Excuse me. The full step-by-step, because there's a lot of steps to a lot of these, especially when we get into handmade paper. But what I'm doing is I'm putting them on my Patreon at the $10 level. So at the $10 a month level, that's where I'll put all the paper making videos that I'm doing, along with other stuff that we do at that level. But I put it at the lowest level so that I just wanted to keep it affordable for everyone. And you figure for $10 a month, you'll get 2 to 4 videos for sure on paper making and on other things. I do a lot of jelly printing. All that stuff happens at that level. But if you don't want to, you can't. I know everybody is at different places, so no problem. There'll be enough of the tutorial on our Saturday videos, so you'll get the idea of exactly, you know, how to do it. So I thought that was kind of the best way to do it, because sometimes it's an hour, 2 hours. It could be 3 hours for us to make a particular paper. And it's just not possible for me to get it done on YouTube. And I know you guys understand that. And so these are going to be called like our you know, our specialty paper dupes, or Blick paper dupes, you know, if we wanted to kind of call out a particular store, because they have a wonderful paper. So all I'm doing is a shout out when we talk about Blick dupes. So a lot of these papers here we'll be making my dupes of them. So we'll get very close to a lot of these papers as we start working together. Some of them will look identical to them. Some of them, like maybe this ginkgo leaf, we're going to work it probably with a stencil, and still we're going to make the paper, make some beautiful paper. You know, we can do scripting on it, right? I have a lot of ideas. This is some more sort of a lace paper. These are going to be fun to make. You know, we can use these sort of, we'll be making these kind of really nice sort of oatmeal-y textured papers, and of course we can still do this. So there's a lot of Blick papers that we can dupe, and if you have papers that I'm not showing that you'd like to see dupes of, always just send me a photo of the paper to info@robinmcclendon.com, and I'll put it into my schedule of papers to make. And over the coming months, for sure, we're going to get to making a lot of papers. I'm really excited about that project. I thought it was a fun way to go to the next level. I know many people don't know how to make paper, would love to make your own paper. We've been working on mark making and mono printing on our papers and stuff like that. But how cool would it be to also now make your paper? I've made paper for over 30 years. I'm a master paper maker in Western and Eastern binding. So, I mean, I do Western, Eastern binding in books, but in paper. So I'm pretty good at figuring out how to dupe a paper. And we're going to just use simple things like a blender. So pull out a blender that you're not using anymore. Hit the, you know, the thrift stores or whatever. Even Walmart, I think now has a blend. You can blenders for $15 or something like that. Get yourself a blender that's just for paper making. It has to be a blender, not a food processor or anything like that. You want to get yourself a blender, because we'll use that to break down the paper fiber. More to come, but that I wanted to tell you about so that you can get started on finding your blender. So let's get to today's spread. Here we are right here. So this first page, oh, doesn't that just look yummy? And when you use these papers back in the journal, look at how good this looks. And so that went down beautifully. And because it's this, I'm using the calligraphy paper. It's a nice thin paper. And you see it really goes down nice and snug to the fact that you can see the ridges there that come from the paper that we put down on that side, right? This will be another paper we'll dupe. We'll dupe this paper as well. This will be a fun one to make. So then I collaged one of my hearth code symbols from my stencils, from 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐧, is on here on tissue paper. I just thought that went so beautifully. And then this, you know, my current 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐧 stamps. A lot of you guys have those, and that's just a little segment that I had done on some tea stained newsprint. And I just think that just like, I mean, that just looks like a nice finished collage. I love it. So much texture and color. Oh. So on this page, you know, the original page had some 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐳 mark making on it. So this is a piece of tissue paper that I made using inks. And I've made this before, so I think if you go back into some of my mark making videos, I'll try to find it and link it. I think we made some of these on YouTube. But yeah, this is, I just thought that color worked nicely with the background paper, but it also picks up the earthy tones of what we have over here. So I really, really like that. And then here I stapled a piece of mylar that we painted on. So remember we did the gel plate with paint on the back of mylar, and we did that early on in the process. I showed you all how to do that. So there are some of the earlier videos for some of those of you new, kind of go back into the early Cabinet of Curiosities, and we make some of this super easy. You're just really taking some sort of mylar, plastic, sheet protector, anything, and I created some abstract patterns. You can create anything on the gel plate, and then you print on it, and it'll you know, it'll pick up the image. So I really like the juxtaposition of these. I feel like this is like a piece of art hanging on the wall. You know, it's sort of this old cave type of thing. Really like that. So on this page, it was here again, it was just the coffee stain papers. So I took another one of our shibori papers, and see how we just use bits and pieces of it and it looks so different. So we use this piece here. Just took the top square. You see how much you get out of it. You get a lot for collaging. But to me, it sort of has a butterfly shape to it. It also sort of looks like an ink blot. So it's like a reverse ink blot, right? Where you're seeing the white. Let me see if I can get this to focus. With the black around it. So it's really cool the effects you get with this shibori style of staining. And then some more of the blick paper. We'll also dupe this paper too. The one with the sort of the straw paper with gold squares. We'll have fun with that one. And then I came back using my Posca pen in the white and just did a scripting over. And I like how subtle. You can see it. It's just very subtle. I feel like it, you know, just unites everything nicely. But yet it's just nice and subtle. It's a nice touch there. And now this piece is one of our flaps here. So here I used another one of the stained papers. Now this is a shibori style, but it's a very loose way of working with the grid. So it's not like a really tightly, here it is. It's not a very tight grid. You're seeing how I'm doing it now. I just kind of fold it very loosely and dip it again. But then I stain the paper first to get this backgrounding in it. So a lot of that color is just stained flat by pouring the inks on them, pouring the paints that we made in it. And then from there, get some more of the staining with this loose grid. I just love them. I mean, they're just so beautifully abstract what you could do with these. The sky's the limit. I mean, this just is a beautiful background to collage on. Those of you who've taken my encaustics and now know how to do encaustics, you could really take a whole full sheet and just do encaustics on it and frame it. It would just be so beautiful. And with the encaustics, you just get that extra little bit of texture and history to the paper. And just really enjoy the pattern as it is. I think that the patterns and a lot of these prints are just beautiful. Like, I just love this. I could just, in fact, I think I will end up showing, doing that with a finished piece. I know I'll do the process over in Patreon, but when I'm done, I'll show you guys. But I think I'll do this to wax, and then I can see this frame. This will be nice. Yes. So anyway, that's what I used in this flap. So you know how we had these extra flaps. I think on this side, we did this. The pocket and love it. So on this side, I put a piece of that down, and then I came back and made this flip. Towards the end, I was kind of working things out, and you know, we had done these from our pressed flowers. I just love these. Oh, you guys love them. I've been seeing some of the work that you've done with your pressed flowers, you know, up in on Instagram, on some of your Instagram pages. You all tag me in the Facebook group. I see them, and you guys did some really nice stuff, and I just love them. I think having them at the ready, this one just works in so beautifully with everything. And then because, you know, I have the graph paper on the back side, it just becomes a natural place to write, or, you know, a journal or whatever. But this, just seeing half the page with this is nice as well. But yet, you know, we don't obscure any of it. So you just get the full pattern, which I love. So used a little bit of old sari silk that I had. Just ripped the thin piece and used that with the PVA glue. I know I used some of the glitter glue, but the glitter glue is a PVA. It's a white glue. And made this flip. Oh, love it. And on the back side is where I put an enlarged. I have this from a spine from an old book. I just love it. It's a full piece, but I put it in as a part of the printables. So that's the piece that you saw missing here. You're seeing the full sheet as I'm taking it out. But just love it. So there's a lot of good stuff on here. This is from an Ethiopian Bible that I have. I've had it for 20 something years for sure, if not longer. Might have even had it before. I had it before my daughter was born, so 30. Oh boy. And I actually printed it years ago on a piece of polymer clay. So that background is actually polymer clay. And I printed it. What did I use to print it? I did use a mono printing process, of course. Was it mono printing or a photo transfer? I have to remember. I might have actually, because on the 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐧, the polymer clay, you can actually take a really good carbon, a photocopy using carbon. So you have to kind of go to like Office Max or 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐧 or somewhere like that, where they sell those big machines that you put the carbon cartridges in. And then I transferred it onto the polymer because the polymer would allow that transfer process. So that's what happened there. It's really neat. So I love those symbols too. Oh, I love this language. It's Coptic. It's Ethiopian. So yeah, so that's one of the pages in it. So we put that here. And then using some of this gold paper that I got from Blick too, also. Well, I don't know if you guys can hear that thunder, but I love it. I don't know if I have it here. A little bit of sari silk up there. It's at the top of the page. And I just love the way it flipped. And I really like the juxtaposition of this sterling, the brown spine against this goldy black, of the 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐬. And then with this white scripting coming down, I just think that adds a nice amount to the whole thing. And then over here, it was such a nice page already. You know how this has been thematic through the book. And I really liked it. And I liked it opposite all of this. I didn't want to do a lot to it, but I wanted to do something to it. So I took this piece of tissue paper that I had printed on with, this is just on the gel plate, using dots that I created, and then I just picked it up. You can see a little bit of the extra paint, like this white. It was extra stuff on the plate. And I just thought that pattern, it mimicked the dots here nicely. So it's a lot of subtle stuff that happens when you're collaging and you're just kind of in the intuitive collaging. I can't say that I consciously thought about this and then putting this down. I didn't consciously think about I had a dot pattern and I needed a dot pattern. Honestly, I did this. And then I forget. I did this and I don't remember the order right now that I did it in. But they were done separately, in the process of putting the book together, or putting these pages together. And it really isn't until now that I look at it and I realize, oh, that dot pattern really works, but it's very subtle. It's not like screaming off the page, dots, dots, and even this sort of circular patterns here, of a larger circular kind of amorphous or, kind of shape is really nice. And so that would finish up that spread. This is a couple more moving forward. But, so yeah, I really like the way these pages came out. Love them. And so the link for the printables are down there. I think there's at least 14 of these. I don't remember. It'll say they're always $6. I hope you have fun working on this shibori style yourself. We've also been doing shibori on fabric coming up in Patreon. I actually have all the videos done. This is the silk, right? So you can see where we have sections here where, this is where some of that should be. But I like that irregularity, and that happens a lot even in your traditional shibori on fabrics. But yeah, so where I've done it on silk, and it's just gorgeous. What you could do with that is just amazing in your work. But anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed the first bit with this. Probably in 2 weeks or so, we'll do paper making 101. Well, I'll just begin to show you how to make just your base layer of paper. We won't be doing a lot of decorating to it or anything. We just want to make some good textural sheets to get you started. And once we get that, once you kind of get that down, we're just going to keep on building and have some fun making paper, and you'll be able to gel print on it, collage with it. You'll be able to do all kind of staining. You'll be able to do mark making on them. They'll be beautiful in your collages. I mean, hey. So that'll go on for, I think I've already identified like 14 different types of paper making things to do. So we'll be working on this until next year. So I'm gonna keep you all busy. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna keep on working book as art. So these journals are definitely art books, as you can see. Many of you actually like the idea of being able to learn how to take and put your make your own printed book with your journals. So we will do that. I'll do that in a workshop, and once again, I'll keep the workshop really affordable, probably like $35 or something like that. But it's going to be showing you how to photograph your stuff, take it into the program that allows you to make a book. It's very straightforward, but seeing how to do it helps, of course. And yeah, so that'll happen probably into next year sometime, maybe February or so. But lots going on, and so you can see the light is changing because now it's getting darker and darker outside. It's raining. It's so beautiful. I'm gonna show you now what it's looking like. Okay, so here's my view. It's raining, but it's so beautiful and hazy. I love it. You see that mountain range? I'm up pretty high. Beautiful pines in the distance. And really nicely tucked in here. You can see I'm up here. There's the truck. But just down the hill there, coming up. You really have to have a truck like that to get up in here, because it's kind of a regular car is not getting up in here, but this is what I like to do. I like to get away to places that are really honestly tucked away, and it's just amazing. So I wanted to show you all. Okay, love you all. Continue making, working in your books. Continue showing up, hanging out with me in Premiere. Love you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy creating. And from my studio to yours, lots of love. Bye-bye.